Alright guys, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be focusing identifying triangles congruent by side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, side, angle, angle, side, or hypotenuse-leg theorems. We're going to show that mastery of class by scoring at least an 80% on the exit ticket. Hopefully you have your note sheet in front of you. If you don't, take out a blank sheet of paper and we'll get you a fresh copy tomorrow. Now, the key words in here is we are proving them to be congruent, which means they need to be exactly the same. All the angles have to be the same and all the sides have to be the same. But we're going to use this with diagrams. They're not always going to have numbers. Sometimes if I want two sides in two separate triangles congruent, I'm going to put a tick mark on both sides. If they have the same number of tick marks, that means those sides are congruent. So in this case, if I call this triangle ABC and DEF, that tells me that AC is congruent to DF. It also tells me that BC is congruent to EF. And I'm just basing that solely on the tick marks. Now, if we're going to talk about angles, angles are going to have my little half moons. Again, it's all based on the number of half moons. So in this case, angle C is going to be congruent to angle F because they both only have one half moon. Angle B is going to be congruent to angle E because they both have two half moons. So even though we don't know the measures of these angles and sides, we know that they're congruent based on the pictures and the markings. Now, we're going to talk about labeling it so that you know what it looks like. When we talk about side, 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 that means 3 pairs of congruent sides. I need 1 pair here, 1 pair here, and 1 pair here. In order to prove 2 triangles congruent with side, 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 I need 3 pairs of those congruent sides. Now, side, angle, side. Here's the thing that you need to keep in mind. For these, you don't want to pick up your pencil. You want it to go in order. So, there's multiple ways we can do side, angle, side. So I'm just going to give you one example. But if I start with my side, and I'm given another side over here, I want side, angle, side so that it goes in order and I'm not picking up my pencil. That means I need this top angle because if I were to trace it, I went side, angle, side, and I didn't pick up the pen either time before I hit my side, my angle, and my side. Now, it could be 2 different sides, but if it was those 2 sides, that is the only angle possible. When we talk about angle, side angle, again, you still don't want to pick up your pencil. Well, if I have an angle here, a side here, that means my top angle has to be my next angle. Because if I were to go from angle, side, angle, you need to not pick up your pencil before you hit your angle, your side, and your angle. Angle, angle, side, again, okay. I need 2 angles, but then in this case, my side comes after my second angle, so it's going to be my long side here. I hit my angle, I hit my side, and then I hit my angle. Hit my angle, hit my side, and hit my angle. Didn't have to pick up the pencil to hit them in a row. Didn't have the side between the 2 angles because that goes to angle, side, angle. Now, with hypotenuse leg, it has to be in a right triangle. If it's not a right triangle, you cannot use hypotenuse leg. If I have this, your hypotenuse, your longest side of your right triangle, and then you need one of your legs. This can only work in a right triangle though. So if you are given 2 sides of a triangle and that's it, you can't assume it's hypotenuse leg unless it has that right angle there. Now, if we look, we're going to label a couple of them. The first one, I have 2 sets of congruent angles. I already know. We have my top and we have my sides. The thing you need to keep in mind, my 2 triangles, they share that middle side. That's going to be my reflexive property, and you're going to see that time and time again, this unit. when we talk about proving triangles congruent, that reflexive property. Well, now, if I look at my triangle, I went from an angle to a side to an angle to a side to an angle. So, it is going to be angle, side, angle. Number 2, again, those two triangles share that middle line. That's our reflexive property. Well, if they share the same line, they have to be congruent to each other. Well, now if you notice, I have all my sides marked. So now I have side, side, side. Number 3, if we look, I can start here and go angle, I hit another angle, and then I hit my side. Angle, hit an angle, and then my side. So, it is angle, angle, side. Now, number 4, we notice we have the right angles. Don't automatically assume it's hypotenuse leg. Make sure you double check it first. We do have one set of congruent sides, but that middle line they also share. You have to ask yourself, because the lines are the legs, is that middle line the hypotenuse? Well, it's across from the right angle, so it is. So my reason is hypotenuse leg. If I look at number 9, actually it skipped a page, I apologize. Number 5. We have 2 sets of sides. That doesn't automatically mean the third set of sides are congruent. You can't assume that because they're not a shared side. If I look, I do have vertical angles there. We know vertical angles are always congruent, so that still falls true. But if I go to follow it, I hit side, side, angle, or I hit angle, side, side. In this case, that is not one of our types. So there is not enough information to prove those two congruent to each other. Even though they look congruent, we cannot assume that they are. Now, number 6, those dark arrows mean that those lines are parallel. If it gives you parallel lines, you're going to want to look for some type of angle along the transversal. Typically, you're going to look for alternate interior or corresponding. You can look for others, but those are going to be the most common. Now, if I have my 2 lines that are parallel, if I make this my transversal, I notice that this angle is congruent to that angle because they're corresponding angles. So, if we go back to the original diagram, I now have those 2 angles congruent. I already have my first set of angles congruent, and I have my line. Well, angle, I hit a side, and then I hit an angle. Angle, I hit a side, and an angle. So, it is angle, side, angle. If they give you parallel lines, you're going to have to use them and find some angle types that you know. Corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior. Now, number 7, again, that reflexive property, they share that middle side. You're going to see that very, very common. Well, now I have 2 sides and an angle, but the important thing here, I hit my angle, my side first, my angle, and then my side. I hit a side, angle, and then a side. Number 8, it goes back to that reflexive property. That middle side is shared. Well, if it's shared, they have to be the same. So in this case, all the sides are congruent. So it is going to be side, side, side. I want you to try the next 4 on your own, see what you can get. Bring it to class tomorrow. We will go over it then.